get around, make we talk up the things. No more sugarcoating, relax the things. We tend to shy away from the serious talk. Fear not a way of Jesus a walk. As a child, I the king, you are fit and strong. Me guided by the word, make God number one. The journey seems rough, it's not for the weak. Time to open up your mouth and speak. Ooh, it's a better night from you. Ooh, to Faith Unfiltered. Ooh, it's a better night from you. Ooh, to Faith Unfiltered.
All right, all Christian people.
Yay.
All right, that is it. That is it. Welcome back to another episode of Faith Unfiltered. This is part 2 of our previous episode. And if you haven't seen part 1, remember to go back to our page, the Bend and S.D.A. YouTube channel. It's there. And
Instagram.
That's facts. That's facts. So we're striking off again part 2 of our topic. Oh, let me go find it right here. What is it like being a new believer in the SDA Church, and does the church have a problem with retaining new members? We left off where we were just discussing like different things that could have caused the individuals to just stop. New members to just stop being a part of the church cold turkey, and it's kind of crazy. I left off where concerns about they're giving a reality shock about what the church is actually like, and some of them are even saying that, okay, then if the church stays so, why don't we just stay in our land down? This is our hope.
Well.
Yeah, might as well. And it's crazy. It's very crazy. There are some others where the same people in church hit them with some heavy church earth. There is no community, and Kayla would have stated this in our previous episode, where it's because of this community, this love that she was smothered with, that kept her here today, and we're glad for that, because we wouldn't have had her lovely co-host right here.
No.
And that we got to appreciate.
Yeah.
So
in short, before, as you said, church hurts and the community, so they weren't getting any love. So after they have been brought into the church, no one spoke to them, no one gave them anything. And that's, I've seen it, to be honest, because as a youth, who knows me knows that I'm an extrovert. So when I see people coming to the church, especially youths, I just want to go to them and talk to them.
True. You have to walk you out.
Yeah, but when I see the older people come, I'm like, no, like I believe that the older people should be friends with older people. Not that we can't say hi to them, but when I see the youths, I just want to talk to the youths more. It's not like I don't want to talk to older people. It just feel like they work better with, they relate more to the bigger adults. Let's say that. So yeah, I've seen it where people don't really talk to the members when they come into the church, and some of they're really lonely. And before we even got on this podcast, I was thinking how many people are here, and I've seen persons they don't really have a friendship like you and I, Alfonso. So they sometimes they just sit by themselves.
Well, who's our friend?
Oh my gosh! I can't believe you really said that.
We're friends.
Oh my gosh!
Who friendship?
Guys, you see what I have to deal with. All right, but yeah, they don't really have people to talk to. Sometimes I want to talk to them, but I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know if they will be able to relate to me, because I'm much younger than them. So I really say nothing. But another reason why people leave the church is like they're saying that there's nothing here for them. But at the same time, within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, there are lots of things. I'm going to university right now, and I am a part of the ADFEL community. So whenever there is like Singspiration, I try to participate in it now and then. But sometimes these new believers, they don't put themselves in a place where they can be used by God. They just come to church every day. Some of them sleep like Jermaine. Sorry.
Shots are being fired, people. Shots are being fired. All righty. Justice for Jermaine, indeed. The man is tired.
Oh my God. I don't mean anything bad, but yeah, sometimes them come at church and them sleep. Them not really hear what going on in the church. They don't really hear the message. So they start to lose interest. They don't want to participate in anything at all. So I think that's a little bit of a reason why they would leave. But yeah.
Well, those are good solid points though, still, And there are some other stuff, because I can go on and on, where new members don't really stay in church, about the cares of life weighs them down. And I mentioned this in the first episode, or part 1, that some of the things that affects these new members, they can't really separate them from what affects the current members now, because both of them are leaving sometimes even on the same terms, right, the same way. And one of the ways, the cares of life have gotten in, after the excitement and the tambourine and the good singing, the crusade them or whatever, they come in at the church, or the one day they come, right, and they hear the, going up yonder, all those things, and they say, yes, I want to go up yonder with my Lord, right, and then afterwards, when they come in, and they get to look at Bible study, can we move off, at different levels to this, we're not new to this, we're true to this, and they move all of that, and the cares of life, they hit them. Some of them just don't have the resolve, right? And I agree a little bit with your point. The church can do as much and so more, but now it's time for some of those new members, to get the little backbone into it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what they expected. The Christian journey is not a easy journey at all. That's what I remember. Me and my wife was singing this early in the morning. It's the old song about it's a hard road.
The travel,
hey, and a mighty long way to go.
Yeah.
And boy, may I tell you, some of them now made it strongly. So it's a majority of reasons, but they're leaving, and the church should see this as a very alarming.
It's a wake up call.
It's a very alarming.
What's going on here?
Because if I'm not bashing anybody or myself, because there are a lot of things that we can do as individuals, as people. But and even speaking about it now, it's a wake up call in the mental, right? Because Jesus back in the days when he was there, because we're this whole Christianity, as being a Christian, is the father, try to be emulate, our Father, up in heaven, Jesus Christ. And when he was here, doing his thing on earth, right, the only souls he lose are the ones who didn't really want anything, at all. And
like who, like Judas?
Yeah. Mighty God. Anyways, and but he went and he made initiative. He reached out to where they were. He spoke to them. He spoke to everyone. The proud. The low. The everybody. The rich. The poor.
Everyone.
He made all of them feel welcome and fellowship. Even when people are telling him, say, yo, in Jamaican terms, he's the one disciples that say, yo, boss, you can't do this much of my people, man. Let them below you, bro. And he was saying, no, fam, no. Give me my people. They're my people. Yeah. So we should try to do that as well.
Yeah, and I also have another point. I'm just sitting here and it just came back.
But hold on, just a little bit. Getting some new speeds in the earbuds. Getting some new speeds in the earbuds. For those also, you can share. On the other side of the screen, you can share.
Yes.
You share in the comment section your experience as when you're a new member, right, of the church, and how was the retention program or process for you? What made you stay? Right? Was the nice singing? Was the quiet? Because say we Adventist people, we love to sing. And that keep no power. I kid you not. And the moment we stop singing, we gone left.
And the food.
Yeah. God bless
church
the kitchen.
Food.
And when they say nowhere else, so they look for food, they look for gathering friends. I mean, now bash the person who come to church for look for a husband and stay, a wife and stay. Because that's where to go. If they look for it in the church and nowhere else. Right. So Sakela, that you do the door. You can tell me.
I not find nobody else. I mean, it's a 20 odd girl.
No, man, I pray for you. I'll pray for you as I pray for myself.
Oh my gosh.
But as you were saying, Kayla, before I rudely interrupted.
Yeah. It's called to live in the world, but not be of the world. Am I correct? Yeah. So a lot of us, when we become Christians, those things that we usually do, like going to the parties, drinking.
A big dance, run about.
Yeah. Like some of us, it's like we can't really get rid of that part of us. So to some of us, it's like it's join us back to where we're coming from. We don't realize that we don't realize that the devil doesn't love us. He just wants to break us down. We were told that Jesus told us that it wasn't, our Christian walk was never going to be easy. And some of us, when we become Christians, we are drawn back to our old lifestyle. I don't know how. I'm not bashing anybody, but I don't know how to stop in a dance for 8 hours. I don't know how.
So back in ideas, I was told, research purposes, we're not going to dance and stand for 8 hours. That take too much time. I true, then do it, but I so many times I did lick a bus up in the head,
Lord Jesus.
But different combo that.
Yeah, like I have a friend. When we were overseas, her friend brought her, to a party. She never did want to go on a party. Well, she's a party girl, but she never did really want to go because she did got one party the day before. And she tell me, say, the friend makes she stand up in the party for 8 hours. I say, that was a shift. She could have been working.
That is right. I'm only that. I do understand that. That's crazy.
Like she said, she stand up for a whole 8-hour shift. And I'm like, I don't know how people do it. And then the alcohol and the smoking, like, it messes with your mind. You know, I don't know what it's like, thank God, you know, because I don't know where I would have been right now if it wasn't for God. Hallelujah. And His goodness. And a lot of us, not bashing anyone, a lot of us, we need to realize what God wants for us and not what we want for ourselves. Because what we want for ourselves may not be what is right or what is good. You know, the enemy can be leading us down a little rabbit hole and we're not even pay attention to it. So yeah, a lot of us as new believers, we are not able to control ourselves and resist temptations. So that's a reason why, you know, a lot of Christians are leaving the church. That's a reason.
But okay, I forgot no be the mischief maker. But yes, all right, okay, that's fine. You know, because I see how we are fling the narrative and the twists from side to side. You know, from the church, the new believers, the church and new believers. And I said, you know, there are two sides to a story, two sides to a coin. Fine. So, but for that point you made, right, is it the responsibility of the church to give the people a more, you know, guidance where it concerns that, more mentorship?
Yeah, but at the same time, the church, I'm not picking up, guys, but I'm just making a point.
The church,
I'm not picking up. But at the same time, the church can't really monitor what a person is doing outside of church. You know, we can only see what we see at church. So a lot of times,
but that's why they should call to check up.
Yeah, I understand.
And to monitor and to account for be a brother's keeper.
Yeah, I understand that. That's true. That's why a lot of times we have prayer partners and whatever. But at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, producer. Okay, so apparently our background people would like to say something.
I tell you, from the be a laugh and
the kiki. All right, so background people, what's going on?
Knock yourself out.
Just to add to one of the points, like why people leave, sometimes the church, I think, focus too much on, yes, the spiritual side is important, but also we need to remember that persons have a social life too. So you can call and check up on a person, how is school going, find out if everything is okay, because sometimes we don't focus on that part of things. And as our host Alfonso said, you know, the cares of life, so sometimes you need to check up on them, just give them a call.
Live in the world, but not be of the world. Am I correct? Yeah. So a lot of us, you know, when we become Christians, you know, those things that we usually do, like going to the parties, you know, drinking.
A big dance, run about.
Yeah. Like some of us, it's like we can't really get rid of that part of us. So to some of us, it's like it's join us back to you know, where we're coming from. We don't realize that we don't realize that the devil doesn't love us. You know, he just wants to break us down. You know, we were told that Jesus told us that it wasn't, our Christian walk was never going to be easy. You know, and some of us, you know, when we become Christians, we are drawn back to our old lifestyle. I don't know how. I'm not bashing anybody, but I don't know how when I step in a dance for 8 hours. I don't know how.
You know, so back in ideas, I was told, you know, research purposes, but I'm gonna dance and stuff for 8 hours. That take too much time. I true, then do it, you know, but as if somebody else had the liquor bust up in the head, you know,
Lord Jesus.
But you know, different combo that.
Yeah, like I have a friend. When we were overseas, her friend brought her, you know, to a party. She never did want to go on a party. Well, she's a party girl, but she never did really want to go because she did got one party the day before. And she tell me, say, the friend makes she stand up in the party for 8 hours. I say, that was a shift. She could have been working.
That is right. I'm only that. I do understand that. That's crazy.
Like she said, she stand up for a whole 8-hour shift. And I'm like, I don't know how people do it. And then the alcohol and the smoking, like, it messes with your mind. You know, I don't know what it's like, thank God, you know, because I don't know where I would have been right now if it wasn't for God. Hallelujah. And His goodness. And a lot of us, not bashing anyone, a lot of us, we need to realize what God wants for us and not what we want for ourselves. Because what we want for ourselves may not be what is right or what is good. You know, the enemy can be leading us down a little rabbit hole and we're not even pay attention to it. So yeah, a lot of us as new believers, we are not able to control ourselves and resist temptations. So that's a reason why, you know, a lot of Christians are leaving the church. That's a reason.
But okay, I'm forgot no be the mischief maker. But yes, all right, okay, that's fine. You know, because I see how we are fling the narrative and the twists from side to side. You know, from the church, the new believers, the church and new believers. And I said, you know, there are two sides to a story, two sides to a coin. Fine. So, but for that point you made, right? Is it the responsibility of the church to give the people a more, you know, guidance where it concerns that, more mentorship?
Yeah, but at the same time, the church, I'm not picking up, guys, but I'm just making a point.
It look like
I'm not picking up. But at the same time, the church can't really monitor what a person is doing outside of church. You know, we can only see what we see at church. So a lot of times,
that's why they should call to check up.
Yeah, I understand.
And to monitor and to account for be your brother's keeper.
Yeah, I understand that. That's true. That's why a lot of times we have prayer partners and whatever. But at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, producer? Okay, so apparently our background people would like to say something.
I tell you, from the be a laugh and
the kiki. All right, so background people, what's going on?
Knock yourself out.
Just to add to one of the points, like why people leave, sometimes the church, I think, focus too much on, yes, the spiritual side is important, but also we need to remember that persons have a social life too. So you can call and check up on a person who is...
So more street meetings, and use that street meeting, get their phone number, call them, check up on them, let them see that, listen, I'm interested, not just that one time after they start coming to the church. Okay. You still talk to them and get to know them more, because we really don't talk to each other that much. Like you mentioned before, like we don't communicate with each other. We don't have a close friendship. We need to have a close friendship with our church members. So that's something that we need to work on. Also, this thing that we have in the morning, I've never been to it. Apparently, it's it's a 4 a.m. like it's what is it, a prayer? I don't even know what it's. Sorry. It's a prayer line.
That one in the morning?
Yes.
Oh, no.
A lot of us, we don't know about it, and I've heard it being mentioned in the church, but it's not. I don't think it's something that's been pushed. So whatever plans we have to stick to it and ensure that our members are coming, because you cannot come online you can't come to church every day and say, oh, you're not coming on. Some of us, we don't really know. Sometimes people not even reach at the time when you talk about it. So you have to ensure you call us a brother bar, you're coming online. Remember that we send reminders to people. We have a local church group. Continue send out the message, make people know. Sometimes people don't even realize what is going on and that they really need that prayer. We need to continue having prayer partners. We need to ensure that our new members are with somebody that has been there at the church for a very long time. Ensure that they have someone that they can call on. I can call on you if someone have me, if we are prayer partners. And we need, guys, don't listen to. We also need to have more events. We don't really have a lot of socials, and because of that, people don't really come out when we do have it. So we need to have more fun and interactive events at church. That not just for those who are at church, but our community members. Okay. So we need to do a lot. We need to do more of that. We need to allow persons to showcase what talents and gifts God has given to them. So we need to do a lot more at Bendon, because what I see is that we're using the same people over and over and again. And it gets tiring. So we need to ensure that we ask them, so what are your talents? Can you read? Can you do a poem? Can you sing? What can you do? So when we ask them that, it gives us a feel of what we're working with, who we're dealing with. A lot can be done. I can't come up with a lot of things right now that the Bendon Church can do. But
you have fire well, okay, like,
sometimes.
Passionate man. It's going to speak about a particular point where you made about the crusade. Yeah, we're supposed to have a crusade, but what kind of crusade are those? Are the money grab crusades? Or grab a soul, you grab a soul, you grab a soul, you grab a soul? Are the ones that is actually saying, okay, let's grab and let's retain?
Soul saving crusades.
All of them will have the title soul saving, or are the ones the meaningful one. And we'll say, all right, we'll get these people. We're going to literally work with these people, and not about how much people we can get for a particular crusade. All right, then, because anybody can stop crusade on something, and move on with life. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I see that as a boy, you seem very passionate about Bendon. You look like whenever guys see him church, man, because you're going, you're fire. You're fire bad. So that's what Bendon about. I believe, I will discuss under the church in general. Those things are general thing. the SDA Church, and it's not all of them, so we're not speaking for all of them, but the few and those who are guilty of said act of not retaining or not doing these particular things, you just raise your hand and just take some notes. So one thing for sure, which we dived into part one of it, is just the fellowship, right? After you've grabbed that soul, after you would have saved that soul, from the clutches of the enemy, and you'd have given them a taste of who Jesus is. I think one of the major acts of it is the fellowship of it all, right? Where it's not just the run of the mill. You, after you finish, you wet him up in the water, the holy water, and you dry him up in clothes, and you bring him back to your respective churches. He's just lost in the wind, voidless. No, you remember that person. You remember them by name. As what Kayla said, not only for Bender, but you seek out what they can do well. Make them integrate, make them a part of the church. Then afterwards, you do a lot more outreaching, and not also outreaching to those who aren't members of the church, but outreaching to your new members and members, right? Reach out. I know some particular members are kind of peculiar about, we have to be real, all walks of life come in the church. Those who don't want nobody call them. Nobody don't want nobody ads. You don't want to see nobody from church out. If that, just say them all one takes. At least make them know, say, all right, we're thinking of you. Thinking of you, hope you're doing well. Before it's too late where you have to say, hey, how you do? You're all right, haven't seen you in a while. Let us try not to reach to that point. Let us be proactive instead of reactive to the fact of the retaining new members and current members. You look like I had that on the chest, man.
Yeah.
Of retaining new and current members. That's crazy. Have more events, to get people participating. Not only in church, but you need to talk about, or not really to talk about. You need to engage the man or woman, right, of that soul. Because the church fellowship is fine and stuff, but people have a life, outside of church. People have different interests outside of, just singing and stuff like that. There's some other events, because sometimes we have some sports day, you never know, so somebody can run light bulbs, we have some kite things, we have some cookouts, and you never know, say how somebody other than the person who was up there, who's the first seller, who thinks the whole thing can do a prayer, right? You never know, say man can beat a bad piece of jerk chicken. You never know that. Although chicken are supposed to be
in the Adventist church.
In the Adventist church, we deal with healthy vibes. But you never know, say man can whip up a bad piece of meal. You never know.
Yeah, that's
you never
true.
know. And then when you got him involved and you commend him for it, and everybody commend him and feel good about himself, or she feels so good about herself about knitting and baking and stuff like that. And it's wow. I feel a part of this family of God.
Right. And
regardless of the hardships and the bad times, them feel like we stay, because families argue, families have ups, families have downs, families have squabbles, and it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes I like my sister. sometimes I like people in my family around me. It's okay. It's different between, because I love them.
Yeah.
I love them always. I might not like you at this point in time, but I love you continuously. And there's several things, but those things, just to be more integrated with that, and the check-up thing, and hardcore Bible study. I know, some church will say, they will already have the Bible study part, but sometimes some people understand better when you reach out to them personally and say, hey, we want to look a quick Bible study, or like a small group. But when you have a big thing, and everybody having them bias, and some people are shy, some people still have that shy thing, young, old, indifferent. It's okay. People have that, but when you have one, you say, and you see a church brother sit down, and say, hey, you want to just speak about the word a little bit, go to look at Bible study, we can share it over lunch, we can talk more. Bam, you gain a new friend. You learn some new things about the individual or individuals. Because you don't have to be one person. It could be more. Or you and more than one of you can go on to speak with the individual. It's okay. There's a lot of things. It's just for us to be more human and stop being so rigid.
Yeah.
Right? Look at the scribes and Pharisees. Swear to God, they know everything about the word. They were so rigid and coarse. Right? And because of that structure, the tight structure within their souls, they've missed everything. They've missed everything fly over their head. They're so not of what's happening around them, but they're also puffed up. They feel like they are the bee's knees.
And the best thing since sliced bread.
And Christ come and shame all of them. But that's a different podcast. We could talk about that. Straight up.
Yeah, but before we go, I really like the point that you made about commending, or allowing our brethren to showcase whatever skills, because like I said, we never know if somebody is a very good chef and they can do this and do that. I really like when people at church commend me for doing something. It makes me want to do more. So that's another thing that we need to do. We need to commend our brethren on the things that they are doing.
Excellent. So final thoughts, we're going to wrap it up. I know you guys love it, but guess what? There'll be more of us. So you got to like, share, and subscribe,
And comment.
Yeah, leave your comments, man, the good, the bad, we're fine, because we take feedback, and we improve on it and we do better, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts on it all. Kayla, you want to start the final thoughts and then we'll wrap it up?
Final thoughts. Okay, so as Christians and non-Christians or new believers, we should always remember that God has a plan for us. Jeremiah 29 verse 11.
That's my favorite.
We don't know what that plan is exactly, but I believe that once you follow Christ, allow Him to take control of your life, and to change the things that are not Christ-like, we are able to be more steadfast and to stay in the church more. And also, as a church body, Seventh-day Adventists are not. We need to remember that we're all humans. People make mistakes a lot of times. Some of us, we judge a lot and we say things that come to our minds and we don't remember that people have feelings. We need to remember to speak kindly, to speak kind words to one another, and to encourage our brethren and to look out for them no matter what. So that's my final thoughts. Yes, so over to you.
All right, so my final thought, and thank you for that. That's insightful, and that's true words. So my final thoughts on this topic is that people, when at church.
Oh my gosh.
Know what they do. I kid you that. New members, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. Some of the things they probably have to go deal with. And we talk a lot about some of the things they're probably going to have to deal with as a new member.
Yeah.
So take this podcast as, a little bit of a heads up, depending on the church members you will have and the church family. But it's the Christian journey. You chose it. It's a lovely journey. It is. It's a hard road, but the end reward is phenomenal. And there's nothing like it, and we won't find it anywhere, right? And you're going to have to handle a lot of members that will deter you from staying a new member and keeping and shifting from a new member to just a member. You're going to be around a lot of those. I don't think what to use the word. But with Christ, just be centered, be focus your mind heavenward.
Yeah.
Right? And just keep on pressing and keep on moving. And for UNO members, as SDA people, church people, who's deterring the new members, them from the church.
Get it right.
Get it right. God is not pleased.
Right. God don't like ugly.
God don't like ugly.
No.
I have to talk to myself too. I don't know if nobody vex with me. If not watch it, I'm vex with me.
I'm vex with you. And I like you do me enough things.
You can stay there. God please hold me and do I put you in your place. But people vex, and that's one thing. Oh man, but that's a different podcast topic, because I've cut it up. Producer, tell me something, cut it off.
Yeah.
So let me give you this word of encouragement. SDA Church. Stay humble. Stay meek. Keep on going.
Yeah.
You got this.
Remember the fruits of the Spirit, guys.
That's
we need
true.
to have that. We need that.
It doesn't matter who's behind you. You chose to a life of glory and loveliness and just being right beside Christ and the fellowship that it carries. Don't let any bad apple, within this whole member or his organization spoil your opportunity for a life worth living and a life victorious and glorious. So this is, the wrap. This is bye for now. Not permanent. For now, because we're just getting started.
Yes.
We have a lot more to talk about, and we have a lot more to shake up. Because if you think I'm a mischievous being, no, wait, just hold on. But still, people, like, share, subscribe,
and comment.
This is part 2 of what it's like being a new member, and if the church have any problems retaining it, of Faith Unfiltered. Come back for more. Brought to you by the Bend Down Podcast Network. We can't remember the people, let me know who to start here, but that's a different argument again. Producer will talk. Love you guys, loving once, loving twice, loving always.
Thanks for watching.
Stay safe, my Christian gang. We out.